All right, folks, welcome to, whoops. Okay, welcome, folks, to our discussion on LinkedIn for senior living today. And I'm really excited about this because this is an exclusive discussion just for positive aging community champions. Those organizations and their employees that support and make the positive aging community and the source book possible. Going to try to do a lot of these things here in the future to deliver additional value to you all as the organizations that support what we're doing. So this is a smaller discussion than our normal discussions. I've got it recorded. If you have to drop out, or if you have a coworker that would benefit from this information, I'll make sure that everybody gets a link and we can share it. So the reason that we're doing this, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit more detail here shortly, is we started a positive aging LinkedIn conversation group a few months ago. And what we learned and what we've experienced from that group is mind-blowing in terms of the amount of improvement to the views of the posts and the connections. But what the members of our group that were in that came to me with when I sort of surveyed them on what are some next steps is, hey, we need to kind of back up a little bit and get sort of LinkedIn for Senior Living 101. And what I will tell you is that I've been out there, for the last few months. I go to all the websites. I've been, listening to the quote unquote LinkedIn experts. I've had some one-on-one consultation with some of these folks, and there's lots of good information on how to optimize your profile and make an impact on LinkedIn. The problem is these experts don't understand the senior living world. And what I'm trying to do is glean as much information as I can from those folks and bring it into our container of senior living for you all, because it is kind of frustrating. Like this weekend, I had a consultation with an expert, and it was sort of like, well, Steve, I really don't know your business, and so then I spent a half hour, sort of explaining how referrals work in the senior living world. And we know this stuff. And so hopefully providing this detail to you in context is helpful. Okay, so let's jump into what we're going to talk about today. First, I'm just going to go over why is LinkedIn important to senior living professionals. I'm going to give you an idea. We're going to take a look at what kind of user each of us is on LinkedIn, and there's no right or wrong way. It's all a function of your time and energy that you can devote. But I want to help you create a strategy that matches the amount of time and energy that you can devote to this platform. We're going to talk about something that a lot of people don't know about, and that's the LinkedIn SSI and social sales indicator. And then we're gonna take a look at how other people are viewing you on LinkedIn, and that's going to lead into a really important topic that we're going to be diving into here over the next few months. That's your employer brand, okay? And then I'm going to give you a glimpse for those of you who aren't part of our Positive Aging LinkedIn conversation group. I'm going to share with you a little bit of the results that we received and what that group is about, because I hope that you'll join and become an active member of that group. And then the remainder of our time, we're going to do just brainstorming and questions and conversation. So I hope that sounds good. I'm going to just kick into this. I want to make sure that I got my chat open here. where I can see it. So if you all want to me to back up or clarify something, use chat. I've also got my attendee list open, so you could also raise your virtual hand. We've got a much smaller group here. This is not today. This is just a group of champions, so we can make this interactive if you want it to be. Okay, so let's first dive into why is LinkedIn something that senior serving professionals need to know about and use. Well, first, I want to sort of make a comparison of what LinkedIn is. Okay, now most of us in our field, we understand networking events and going to live events. It's these digital events that throw us for a loop. So what I want you to imagine LinkedIn as is it's the biggest chamber of commerce meeting that you could ever attend. It's going on 24/7, and there's almost 1 billion people that are members of this Chamber of Commerce. Okay. Now you might say, geez, Steve, why are you making that comparison? Because I'm going to tell you, I don't like Chamber of Commerce meetings. All right. When I go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, it's very difficult for me to find things in common with people in those rooms. What I like going to is the GROWS meeting, the ELSIN meeting, the Senior Connections meeting, COGS, you name it. I like going to meetings that are where senior serving professionals are. And because I know everybody in that room, I have something in common with them. Okay? So the good news is that we have a digital platform with almost 1 billion professionals, and here this other stat that I have on this screen is 75% of the people that are on LinkedIn, when they make a job change, they do something on LinkedIn about that job change. Okay, like it's pretty standard practice. You get a new job or you're looking for a job, you're going to go to LinkedIn. This is very important because it's a platform that people update based on their career. And so we've got this huge Chamber of Commerce meeting that we can attend as senior serving professionals. It's overwhelming, just like a normal Chamber of Commerce. But what we are going to do and what I'm going to hopefully help you do better and we're going to do as a group better is we're going to refine that massive Chamber of Commerce meeting down to a customized senior living provider meeting that's open for business 24/7. Okay? I hope that makes sense there, and I hope that you can see now the power of LinkedIn, because one thing that I know about in my 32-year career of being a senior living professional is professional referrals are the backbone of every single provider in our network. I have not talked to one provider in my 32 years who doesn't rely on professional referrals to some extent. And the value of one professional referral source, when my clients have gone in and quantified the value, meaning looking at the referrals that they got from that one professional, adding up the amount of revenue that was generated to their organization, it can range anywhere from, $5,000 to millions of dollars. A social worker that gives an assisted living dozens of referrals over the years, that adds up to, depending on how long those residents live in that community, that can add up to millions of dollars. And if we can help you find or make one connection that can lead to that referral source by using LinkedIn, then this is a powerful tool for you as an individual and for your organization. Okay. So let's see what my next slide is here. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to jump into is what kind of LinkedIn user are you? All right. Now, in our initial group, I had a few folks that were this our conversation group that I'm going to talk about later. They were almost apologetic. They're like, "Oh, Steve, I don't know anything about LinkedIn. I don't have many connections. I know I'm not using it right." And they were sort of like almost embarrassed. And it's like, but I don't want anybody to be embarrassed about your knowledge of this platform, how much time you have to devote to this platform, what you're using this platform for. I want you to take ownership of that. So if you've got a LinkedIn if you're on this call or you're listening to this and you've got a LinkedIn profile and you never go to update it, that's okay. Okay. If you look like 48% of LinkedIn users only log in at least once a month. Okay. So the large bulk of LinkedIn users only use it once a month. And I will tell you, that's the type of user I was till, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Once or twice a month, I would log in, post an event, check things, make some connections. Okay. And then what I call the power users are people that log into LinkedIn every day. And over the last 3 or 4 months, I've been a power user. I use LinkedIn every day. It's always open on my screen. It's not like I go to it and I'm sitting there working on it, but I reference it all day, every day. And there's no right or wrong way to use this platform. But the one thing that we're going to talk about today is no matter what type of user you are, if you're on LinkedIn, I want to make sure that your presence is the best that it can possibly be. Okay. So I got a couple of other sort of stats on to help you kind of think about what type of user you are is that this is, and again, there's all kinds of stats out there, but in general, one stat that I feel I've sort of double checked it a few different ways is that, remember, there's almost 1 billion LinkedIn users, but the average user has about 400 connections and it spends 17 minutes a month on LinkedIn. Okay. Now, our little user group for our pro aging conversation, our average users had about 2,000 connections, I think. Again, but this is just to help you sort of frame the context of how much time do I want to devote to this and what are some user goals. Now, this is where it gets fun because this is where so I've got a college age kid. He's in school, right? And he's going to classes. And he hasn't quite figured out how to crack the code of getting A's and B's in all his classes. And one of the reasons is that he has not put himself in the shoes of the professor who's teaching the class to sort of understand what is this guy trying to teach me and what are going to be the important things that are going to be on a test that I'm going to take. What is he communicating to me? And so what LinkedIn has been really good about, and most people don't, they've kind of hidden this. This is not, major public knowledge is that there is what they call the social selling index, and everybody has a score in LinkedIn, and the higher you can get your score, the more benefits are going to be unlocked for you in LinkedIn. Okay. I'm probably not articulating it the greatest way, but what comprises this score is your professional brand. And this is straight from the LinkedIn website. So they're telling us what they want us to do to utilize their platform. And then they're going to reward us if we utilize their platform the way we want to, the way that they want us to use it. So they want you to establish your professional brand, complete your profile with the customer in mind, become a thought leader by publishing meaningful posts. They want you to two, find the right place, identify better prospects in less time using efficient search and research tools. They want you to engage with insights, discover and share conversation-worthy updates to create and grow relationships, and they want you to build relationships. Okay, so now each of us, let me sort of, I'm going to start going back and forth from my PowerPoint to LinkedIn. So I want you to show you, and I'll drop this into chat. So if you click on that link that I just dropped into chat, what it will pull up is your personal social selling index. And what you can see here is those four components that I just called out. And this is a great thing. So what I would recommend to folks is just write down your score, and the date, and put it somewhere. And then start doing some of these things that we're going to talk about today and playing around with LinkedIn, and then go back and revisit your score and see if you can move that needle. Okay. So let me see what my next slide is. Okay. All right. Yes. This is so now what we're going to talk about is how people view you on LinkedIn. And whether you're using this once a year or once an hour, we want to make sure that you are putting out a positive impression so that you can make connections that could help you with your job, help you with your career, help your organization have a positive employer brand. Okay. And so one easy way to do this, to sort of see the differences between presentations in LinkedIn, is just to type your name into the little LinkedIn box up at the top. And what you see here is that there I am, Steve Gurney. And what you can kind of see is there's a bunch of Steve Gurneys out there, but a lot of these folks have not done anything to sort of update or provide additional information to their profile. And it's easy to do. And we're going to walk through some of the ways that you can do this. Okay. Let me see something here. Okay. All right. So my next, okay. Kate, how do we join the Positive Aging Connection community? Okay. I'm going to get to that, Kate. Kate was asking, how do we join this community? I'm gonna get you guys on that. Bear with me, Kate. Thanks for that question. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is how can we maximize our profile on LinkedIn? There's a ton of things you can do, but we're just going to take care of low-hanging fruit today. Okay? So what you see here, and here's the thing, only half of LinkedIn does not have an updated profile. The other half has an updated profile. We want to be on the other half, because if you update your profile, if you provide as much information on there, you are going to see 40 times more beneficial, meaningful connections than other folks out there. LinkedIn wants us to update this stuff. We want to do everything that LinkedIn wants us to do to use their platform, to communicate their platform, because it's going to help us make more connections. So I'm going to focus on just a few things real quick here. But I'm going to also show you how you can just spend maybe 30 minutes and just make sure that you've really updated everything on your profile possible. The first thing we're going to talk about is creating a custom URL. I have looked at people in our industry, and most people don't have a custom URL. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to update your background image. Again, I'd probably say half of the people who I visit in our industry don't have a background image. And then we just want to make sure that your photo is up to date. And I'll give you a couple of thoughts on that. Okay, so I'm going to get out of my here and I'm going to go over to LinkedIn and I'm going to walk you through updating those elements of your profile and other things. Okay, so first, when you're on LinkedIn, you can click on this little LinkedIn logo and you're gonna see your feed. But what I want you to do for this stuff is you want to go to your profile. So I clicked on that my icon there, and now I'm on my profile. I am viewing my profile. So the first thing on this public profile and URL, so you see up here, it's in the upper right hand corner, it says edit public profile URL. I'm going to click on that. And now up at the top right corner, it says edit your custom URL. If you have not done this, you're going to probably have an address that is very long and it has a bunch of numbers in it. Now, mine is Gurns S, or mine is Gurns, and I've had it for so long I don't want to change it because the link has been out there. If I had to do it over again, I'd probably edit it and call it Pro Aging, but I'm going to leave it as is because it's been out there. But if you want to change this, you can change it to anything and everything as long as somebody else doesn't have that. And so, probably a good rule of thumb would be just to change your custom URL to your name. Now, if you can't get your name, maybe use your last name and first name and play around with your first initial and your last name. But the reason you want to do this is that now you can display that URL in your signature line. You can cut and paste it very easily into somebody's into an email. You could even be at an event and say, hey, yeah, go to my LinkedIn profile. It's LinkedIn Pro Aging or whatever. Okay, so that's the first thing that I want to make sure that everybody does. It's also one of these things that just shows that you have spent some time and that you care about your presence on LinkedIn. And to other users that are utilizing this platform, that's a gold star. All right. So now let's talk about your profile photo. And okay, so now you've edited your custom URL. So now this button down below that, it's edit contents. And this is where you can dive in and you can make changes, and you should be making changes to your profile. No matter how much you update that, if you constantly update it, it's been shown that there are benefits to that in terms of visibility on LinkedIn. But what you'll see here is that you see these little magic markers. These are all things that you can edit on your profile. So this is, I clicked on the one where I can edit my name. You can and real, like you can have an announcement on pronouns if you'd like. I haven't done that, so I'm just gonna show you how you can do that. You can edit your headline. So my headline, I like my headline being that I'm the founder of the positive aging community. However, you'll see if you spend some time on LinkedIn, there's some very creative ways to position your headline. It doesn't need to be your title. It could be, I am passionate about stamping out ageism in the world or something like that. And you can play around with it to see what kind of results you get or what kind of comments you get from folks. Now, your industry is important, but this is one of the challenging things. The industry is there are options, whoops, for the industry. Oh boy, this is why I was worried about going into the live site. Let me just say that the industry settings are industry settings. So you may not find your specific, I am a universal design expert on here. It may be building or remodeling, okay? But you want to go through and you want to update these things, update anything and everything that you see on your profile settings. Now, all I'm going to focus on today is updating your profile photo and this little background here, because I think that those are that first impression. You saw on the screen that I was on over here, you can see on just an initial search, if somebody's searching for you online, the difference between having a profile and not having a profile photo, the difference between filling out some of the elements on your profile make a big difference. So I want to give you a couple of tips on when you update those images. So number one, you want to make sure that you are uploading images that are the correct size. Okay, so right now, the profile photo, 300 by 300 pixels. In general, if you're that ratio, essentially a square photo, you're going to get good results. These things do change slightly over time, so it's not a bad idea to, when you're updating photos, whether it be on LinkedIn, Facebook, or wherever, to say image sizes for LinkedIn profile, and you'll find a bunch of guides and a bunch of advice in that area. But you want to have the right size. And then you see here on your page cover, that's 1128 by 191 pixels. Okay, so I know half of you in the audience right now are probably saying, oh, geez, Steve, I'm not a graphic designer. I don't know how to do this stuff. And when I send it to my graphic designer, she charges me $1 million and it takes 3 weeks. Okay, so I'm gonna turn you on to something. If you're not familiar with it, it's called Canva, and it's an amazing platform. And I'm gonna just log into my Canva account here real quick and show you how cool this is. And this is a great way to prepare better images and get things the right size when you're doing things on social media or any graphic design for that matter. Okay, so first off, Canva, canva.com. You can open up a free account, and this is what your dashboard will look like. And you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, it says create a design. So now this is pretty cool here. In this little search box, I'm going to type LinkedIn, and look at what it does. It brings up a bunch of templates for me to create LinkedIn banners and profile photos and posts and things of that nature. So let me, I'm going to do this one that says LinkedIn profile photo, and you'll notice, remember on that other slide, it said 300 by 300. This one says 800 by 800. It's the same ratio, so it's gonna work. But so when you click on that box, it's going to give you this little template here, and it'll do it no matter what you do on Canva. And you see over here to the left, I got a bunch of, fun little templates that I could use in Canva. In Canva that I could use for my LinkedIn. Now, if you want to use something like this, it's really easy. You could just, go in here and you could type your name. I would not recommend doing that. You don't need to do that. I think basically for your profile photo, all you want is a photo, okay? And so now here, this is a model's photo. I can delete that, and then I could go in here and I could upload a photo. This is a photo of one of our speakers, and drag it over, and boom, there it is. I click on share, I download. I'm going to download this as a PNG file, but I could download it as a JPEG, a PDF, what have you. And now I'm good to go. I can go back to my LinkedIn profile, and I can, whoops, I need to be in edit mode. And I can go and upload and change my my photo or my header on on LinkedIn. Okay, so let me get back to my slide deck here. To keep me on track, I'm looking at the time. We're about halfway done. Okay, so hopefully those, I know I ran through that. Feel free to reach out with me. You can set up an appointment using my calendar. I'm happy to walk you through this stuff. It's if it's challenging or difficult, but I hope I gave you some good tips there, as well as turning you on to Canva, because it's a very valuable tool. And the other nice thing about Canva is that if you have a graphic design, so I obviously have a graphic designer, use graphic design programs. However, if I'm having difficulty getting a look in Canva that I really like, you can easily share, like I can start working on a design and then I shoot it over to my graphic designer and she can, move it around and make it look a little bit better for me. And then we can both work on it together. So that's another benefit of that platform. Okay, so now what I want to talk about let me go back to my profile real quick here. Okay. This is kind of cool. Rich Carlson, he's on our presentation today and he's sending me a message through LinkedIn. Excellent presentation. Seems like the perfect time to ask for us to be connected on LinkedIn. Can't believe I'm not connected to you, Rich. So thank you for doing that. Okay. So here I am in, let me go to my LinkedIn profile. Okay. So here I am in my LinkedIn profile. And as I scroll, so number one, we've got our banner, we got our photo, and now we're scrolling down. And what you can see is you've got the opportunity to sort of add things that you want people to know about, this featured section. Here's my thing. General rule of thumb, fill out everything that you can on this LinkedIn profile. It's not going to hurt you, and it's just going to present more information about who you are, so like-minded people connect with you. And then you kind of move into the activities section, and here's where you can see the different things that that individuals are posting and commenting on LinkedIn. You can click that button and show all activity. I'm not going to do that. You've got an about section. Fill that out, okay? But I want to get to the experience section, your experience here, because this is where we sort of, I'm going to shift into a brief discussion on employer branding, okay? So I'm the founder of the Positive Aging Community, all right? I also owned a paddleboard business now that I don't own anymore, and it's not on LinkedIn. So you see, I've got this sort of generic sort of thing there. Surf Reston is not on LinkedIn. It doesn't have a brand on LinkedIn right now, but I like keeping it up there because it's a great conversation starter. As an adjunct professor at the University of Maryland, they do have a presence on LinkedIn, okay? When you see these logos displayed here, in general, that means that this company has a brand on LinkedIn, the Washington Post, obviously. But let's see what happens when I click on this icon on my profile. It brings you to the positive aging community. And going back to there, when I click on the Washington Post, it brings you to the Washington Post company page on LinkedIn. So now when you are at this company page, you can click on this people link, and anybody who works for the Washington Post that has actually linked to this company page in their profile is going to appear. And this is a great example of the power of an employer brand. And this is one of the things where I hope that all of you on this call today are thinking about this. And this is an opportunity for you to be a hero in your organization, because if you can ensure that everybody in your organization is linking to the same company branded page on LinkedIn, this is going to provide another powerful experience when you're all posting and communicating on LinkedIn. And this is where I want to sort of lean into the value of employer branding. And an employer brand is the definition of it is includes the market's perception of your company as an employer, but it also describes your promise to employees in exchange for experience, talents, contractors, skills. Why is this important? Because every one of you have probably talked to me at one point in time about the challenges of hiring, the challenges of retaining good employees and attracting new employees. And so on LinkedIn, we can sort of serve both items of those when we focus on employer branding. And this is so important that next month, we are going to kick off our first employee branding in senior living discussion on August 10th. And I hope you all will join or invite your HR team or whoever's involved in hiring. I've got my friend Stephanie Adaska, who's a senior living recruiter. She's well skilled in employee branding, and we may even have she's going to tell a story of one senior living organization that actually moved their a portion of their HR department under marketing because they realized the value of employee branding to marketing the organization as a whole and marketing to retain good employees and attract more employees. So I'm really excited about that discussion, and I hope you all can join. So here's number one that I want you all to think about is, do you have a company page on LinkedIn? Has somebody set it up? And just like I sort of walked you through getting your personal profile updated, just make sure that company page is updated, okay? Then go through and or have somebody in your organization find everybody who is in your company and has a LinkedIn profile, and just make sure that they're linked to that page. And lastly, there are some really cool ways that you can use LinkedIn to celebrate your employees that are going to make your organization attractive to job candidates out there. Because see, with the internet, here's the thing, folks. If somebody is interviewing with your company, they're possibly interviewing with several companies, and they're doing a lot of research, and it's really easy to do now on the internet. And so they're searching you up. They're looking at your brand on LinkedIn, online. But if they see that you're sort of celebrating employee milestones, that you're, providing personal congrats and things like that, they are more than likely going to be excited to join your company. But the other thing is, those employees that you want to retain, they're going to be excited about staying there, and they're going to be using this platform to talk about how they like being there. Okay. All right. So I talked about that. All right. Before I jump into our pro aging conversation group, I want to address a few questions that have popped up, and then I'm going to tell you about our group, because when we go back to, so when we talk about this SSI, there is getting your brand dialed in. Okay. Again, if you never use LinkedIn, just spend a little bit of time and get a photo up there, get a profile up there, and make sure that it's up to date. Okay. And then you don't need to look at it, but at least when people are finding you online, it's a positive thing for you and for your organization. This find the right place, engage with the right insights, build relationships. I have learned more from being part of our pro aging conversation group. It's a great training ground on how to post right, on what works, on what doesn't work, on getting engaged. Okay, so we're going to dive into that in a moment here. But first off, so Kate, I'm going to make sure that I follow up with everybody on how you can join our positive aging conversation group. I'll follow up with an email in the next day or so. All right, that was Kate's question. Jennifer says, would you remove graduation dates from education information to avoid ageism? That is a really good question, Jennifer. And I think that's, that is one that we know ageism is in the workplace. We especially everybody here on this call. And if you are out there in the workplace looking for work, if you're in a hiring situation and you're hiring young people and you feel like there might be an age bias with that, it's probably not a bad idea to remove those dates until we can make the world ageist, we can eliminate ageism. These may be things that you want to do. And LinkedIn gives you the ability to remove those graduation dates, because let's face it, it's the year that you graduated is not all that important. It's the degree that you got, right? Okay. So I'll answer that one and just sort of leave it up to you as an individual and what you're trying to communicate and how you're trying to communicate it. Now, Michelle McLaughlin says, what is a good industry SSI rank? Okay, Michelle, let me go. I believe there is some data on, I believe there is some data on the SSI page. So now, obviously, I've been just busting butt on LinkedIn lately, so I've got a high average and I'm there. But okay, here we go. So I've currently only got one person on my team, that's me, so I'm there. But so when you go to your SSI, LinkedIn sales/sales/SSI, you can see what averages are for your industry. Now, this is funny, my industry, because remember, you can't pick industry. It's kind of shocking that in the marketing services industry, the average SSI is 35 and I've got an 82, and people in my network are at a 37. So my gut level feeling on that is, if you've got an SSI in the 40 to 50 range, you're probably doing better than most people. But hopefully what you see is that if you devote a little bit of time to your profile, achieving an SSI in the 80s and 90s is possible. Okay. So I think I answered those questions. Let me look at the clock. Okay, we got 15 minutes. I'm going to try in 5 minutes to give you an overview of the really cool things that we have done in our pro-aging conversation group, and then any remaining time we can use for Q&A. Okay, so we've been running this group for a couple of months now. Okay, but the first 4 weeks we were really doing it as a beta test. Now, what this group is that, and I give all the credit to my friend Glenna Crooks, who I see is on the call. Glenna, I can't believe you're here. This is awesome. So Glenna turned me on to a way of connecting with like-minded people to amplify as a group, amplify your impact on LinkedIn. And let me show you, I'm going to show you personally what this has done to me, for me on LinkedIn. So I'm back on my LinkedIn page, okay? I clicked on this left icon that says in, and what you can see when you do that is your picture is going to be here, and it says impressions of your post. So I'm going to click on impressions of my post, and I'm going to pull the year, show results for the last year, and see that line graph. Hopefully you folks can see that. Here's where I started really playing around with LinkedIn in March. I've been on LinkedIn for years, but I've been a once a month, twice a month guy. But you can see the impact of the post that I'm making. And I don't run every post through the group, but when I post on LinkedIn now, it's way more intentional and it gets better results. And so if you all join and participate in our group, I guarantee you will see the same benefits. And here's kind of what happened in our first 4 weeks. As a group, we did 22 posts, meaning members of our group said, hey, I'm posting something on LinkedIn that I think you would find interesting. Would you join the conversation? We have a technique for doing that. We had over 30,000 views when you collectively added all that up. And our average view of a post is 2,200 impressions. Okay. Let me go back. I'm going to show you something again. I know I'm jumping around a lot here, but remember, we're on my profile. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to show you. Well, I'm the only one that can see this. Nobody can see how many impressions you have on your posts on LinkedIn except for you. Okay. So we're Steve's activity. I'm clicking on my posts, and I'm going to show you a post that I did with the group. So I did one yesterday. Okay, here I am. And wow, that post got 4,000 impressions. I think that's the most impressions I've ever had on a post on LinkedIn. Okay, so my post yesterday that I did got 4,000 impressions. 4,000 people saw that. Now you might be like, oh, well, Steve, it's the internet. It's 4,000 people. No, let's scroll down, because let's look at this post that I didn't run through the group. I've been doing this Throwback Thursday thing, and 600 people saw that post. I didn't run that through the group. So the difference between doing a very intentional post on my own and an intentional post with our community makes a significant difference. There's lots of other factors there, but you can see, like, I'm going to scroll down to some others here. This, here's a post of an event, and that got 200 impressions. So you can see 4,000, but an average of what did I say? An average of 2,200 is pretty significant. Okay. All right. And here's some of the other averages. But the most important thing is that our group, when they don't post with the group, gets an average of 700 impressions. When they do post the group, they get 2,300. And that's one of the benefits of posting with this group. Okay, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the group here in a moment, but I see we've got a couple of other questions and I want to make this a discussion. So Melissa says, do you use LinkedIn Sales Navigator? What do you find are the benefits, or Business Premium? Okay. And then Linda says, do all these features come with basic membership, or is this some kind of enhanced membership? No, Linda and Melissa, everything that we are talking about up to this point is totally free. This is with your free LinkedIn subscription. Okay. You can take full advantage of this and not pay a penny. But because Melissa is bringing up the Sales Navigator and the upgraded membership, let me bring up a couple of important things that you need to know about LinkedIn. Number one, LinkedIn does not make money off advertising. Okay, this is and here's this, they make money off advertising. It's not their primary revenue source. LinkedIn's primary revenue source is people upgrading their membership, and I'll briefly talk about that. But the reason why this is important is what LinkedIn wants us to do is have meaningful conversations on their platform. They're not really that interested in selling advertising, and they're really not interested in having their paying members upset that there's tons of advertising. They want their members, the people that pay to upgrade, to have value in this platform. And the way that they drive value is meaningful conversation. And so when we look at that when we go to my profile and we look at the post that I did yesterday, and that got some very good results, it wasn't me promoting Positive Aging Sourcebook, telling people that they need to advertise. It wasn't me promoting an event. It was me bringing out a topic that a conversation could start around. Could age segregated housing be a thing of the past in the future? I asked that question right up front. I referenced an article that was in some major media, Washington Post, and then that delivered 21 comments, 3 people shared it, and 4,000 impressions. And you might say, Steve, well, you really wasted an opportunity there. You should be using social media to promote everything that you're doing. Well, I kind of am, because I came up with this thought-provoking question and idea, and I'm attached to that. And people joined in and had fun engaging in this conversation with me. What that does is it puts me on other people's radar, okay? And where you can see your radar is on this feed here. And that conversation landed on a lot of people's feeds, because if it didn't, I wouldn't have had 4,000 impressions. So I know I'm going sort of in a circle here. Number one, Linda and everybody on this call, you do not need to pay LinkedIn to upgrade, okay? Number two, LinkedIn makes money on upgrades and not as much money on advertising. So the thing to think about is, when you're using LinkedIn, think about joining in conversations. That's the best way to maximize the presence, okay? Now I'm going to jump into Melissa's question about upgrading and Sales Navigator and things like that. So I currently have an upgraded account. I have not upgraded on LinkedIn until just recently, just to see, does Sales Navigator help me? Does it work? What have you. So I pay a decent amount. I want to say it's like it's over $100 a month to get Sales Navigator. So what do you get with Sales Navigator? So let's take a quick peek here. And time is coming down, but this is recorded. So if you guys need to jump off, you can jump off. But so because I've upgraded, I'm in Sales I have a Sales Navigator account. It's to the right here. Okay. So this is what Sales Navigator looks like. It's like its own entity, but I'm just gonna give you a glimpse at one way you could use it. But I would say to everybody on this call, do not upgrade until you have done everything you possibly can on your LinkedIn free account, because it's almost overwhelming what you can do on here. So since a lot of people in the audience get referrals from social workers, let's use social worker as an example. I can type in social worker into the top here and do a search. And let's hope that this is good here. Okay, so look what happened. There's 2 million social workers on LinkedIn, okay? Or at least 2 million people that are attached to the label social work. Well, okay, Steve, yeah, great. You already told me there's 1 billion people on LinkedIn, but what I can do over here is I can sort this down by geography. So I'm going to take a peek at who's on this call here, and okay, I see I got okay. I see I got Juan, I got Kate, I got Jennifer. Okay. Well, I'm going to use Juan as an example. Juan has Paragon Assisted Living and Paragon Home Care. And let's say that he gets referrals from social workers. Well, Juan is in Fairfax County. So I can type in Fairfax County. Okay, there it popped up. So I'm going to include Fairfax County in my little search of social workers. And let's say that I also am, in Loudoun County. Let's see what happens there. I'm going to include Loudoun County in my social work search. So let's see what kind of social workers are in Loudoun and Fairfax County. I got 3,000. All right. Now, if I wanted to, then I could refine this a little bit more. I could get tighter. Like I could just say, well, let me only do Fairfax County, and then there's an industry key here. Let me see what is there. Is there hospital? Does hospital register? Okay, so I'm going to include hospital, and whoops. Oh, no, I don't want IT. Hospitals and healthcare. Okay, let's see what that did to my 608 results. So now look, we got Angelique Gordon here. She's at the top of the list. She's a social worker with ProMedica. And what I can do, if I want to connect with her, I can connect through Sales Navigator. Now, I'm going to give you a little inside baseball here. Chances are Angelique does not go to LinkedIn very often because, let's see, we've only got 4 shared connections. But when I scroll down here and I see, okay, I've got here's somebody, I got a social worker, well, Loudoun County, Burke Healthcare. Well, Megan, she's got her photo. We got 8 shared connections. She's probably somebody for me to connect with. Okay, so I can do that. Now, you can do the same. You don't need to upgrade your Sales Navigator to build your connection base. It can be helpful. You can see quantities like I just did much better, but you can do the same thing in in LinkedIn where you could type in social worker in LinkedIn, and then you can click on people, and you can get a list here. And more than likely, this list is going to be pretty good because it's going to be tailored to your network already. It's not going to be as global as that Sales Navigator thing. So Melissa, I hope that helped you answer Sales Navigator. But one thing that I want to make very clear, I am not endorsing anybody on this call going to subscribe to this upgraded listing or subscription until you have done everything to update your profile and maximize your presence on LinkedIn. Then go and consider doing that, because it can be very time consuming. In fact, this is a great thing for a personal assistant to do for you. Okay. And Melissa, thank you. Okay, let's see. Stephanie Adaska, the recruiter that I was telling you about who's going to be doing, she's on this call. She says, does LinkedIn have a video learning center to learn how to create a community? If so, do you have a link for that? No. Stephanie, I'm glad you brought this up. I will help you build a community if you have a community. It's very important. And the way that we are executing our positive aging community is very intentional, and it is not intended to game the system. All we are doing is bringing like-minded people together, making sure they're connected, and we're sharing resources. We're making it easier, okay? Oh, okay. Difference between a community and a group. Okay, so yes, you can create a group on LinkedIn. Groups are something totally different. So if you've, let's say, for example, here I'm going to say, let's say I'm a solo, let's say I wanted to start a group on solo aging in LinkedIn. The first thing that I would do, so you saw how I typed in solo aging, and then here, let me go back and do that. What I did, I typed in solo aging, I hit return. And when you do a search in LinkedIn, you can search for people that are interested in solo aging. Or you can search for posts on solo aging. You can search for groups. So let's look at the groups. There's a group that has 30 members and it's on solo aging. Professionals working with solo agers. So one thing, before you start a group, make sure that you search to see if there is already a group that might be started. And then you can go in. Usually it's this this button here that says work. This is where you can get, like, they've got a whole learning series and different details on groups and learning and what have you, where you can go in and learn more about how to create a group or maximize what you're doing on LinkedIn. But I do want to bring up a point about LinkedIn, using it for yourself, your personal profile, positioning you as a thought leader versus your company versus groups. My advice is focus on yourself. Build your brand on LinkedIn. And when you're doing that, you're also benefiting whatever company you are with, currently working with right now. You're helping their brand being built because you're going to be linked to their company page. It's using some of the techniques that we've figured out here. We can enhance your visibility as an individual, and those applications don't always apply to your company page and your brand. I was on a webinar not too long ago, and what LinkedIn wants you to do for your company is they want you to have a good company page, and they want every employee connected to that company. Okay, so that they're going to reward you, the more of your employees that are connected. And then when you and your employees are communicating on your company page, that's when LinkedIn is going to give you the thumbs up. So great example would be, let's say that Cindy won an award and she works for your company. Okay, that's something that you want to go to the company page. You want to post that you got that award, and you want to tag the relevant people in the company that are working that, that are related to that. And you want your employees to congratulate Cindy, your employees of the company to congratulate Cindy on that company page. That's a great use of a company page that LinkedIn will reward you from. Okay, I'm past 1 o'clock. I still got people on this call, so I'm gonna keep on going. If this is taped, you can jump off if you want to, but I want to go into what we do on our conversation group, because I think that our conversation group is not only a way to boost your visibility, but it's a great learning experience. If you participate in our conversation group, you're going to learn a lot. And I'm going to give you a couple of, I'm going to share with you some of those insights. So our group, we only share posts Monday through Thursday before 11 o'clock. We only do them off our personal pages. Here's a couple of tips when you're posting, and this is whether you do it with the group or not. Hashtags. You should use 3 hashtags on every post that you do on LinkedIn, whether you do it with our group or not. Why 3? You don't go more than 3. No, don't go more than 5, but 3 is great. And I want you to think of hashtags. Hashtags were confusing to me, okay? So what is the proper use of a hashtag? I want you to think of a hashtag. I'm going to go to my post that I did yesterday. It's the subject of your post, okay? That's how I want you to think of it. And think of it this way when you're posting on Facebook, on Instagram, or what have you. What is the subject of this post? Okay, so on my post yesterday, I did home sharing, intergenerational, and then I always put in positive aging because that's my personal hashtag brand that I like to identify with. And so the benefit of this is that, number one, LinkedIn wants you to do this. They want you to define the subject, and but it also gives your reader an opportunity to quickly see that, oh wow, home sharing. Hey, that's pretty cool. And your reader, if they're interested in home sharing, they can click on that hashtag link and look at what happens. Other home sharing articles pop up on LinkedIn. So it's a great way. Again, this is why LinkedIn loves it, because it's a great way for people to utilize their platform more efficiently. Okay, got to get back here. Okay. Okay, so when you're posting on LinkedIn, 3 hashtags, make them the subject. Okay, a relevant photo and image. I need to update this. Okay, because the best photo that you can put on LinkedIn is one that looks sort of like this one, that has no selling or images. It's something that draws you in. And I'm scrolling down here, and you can see. So, like, see this photo here? That is probably a better example of an optimized LinkedIn photo, because it's sort of like you say, oh, what is this guy writing about? Mental health disorders in early childhood. Wow, this is important. Okay, so it draws you in. What we do when we post on our group is that we post, and then everybody in the group gets notified, and then we like our members to, if they can, to click in and make a comment and engage in a conversation. And here's the thing that I'm going to sort of close with, because I'm way over my time, is when you're on, you don't need to post. Like, you may be intimidated. You may sort of say, gosh, I don't know what to say that's going to create a conversation on LinkedIn. That's perfectly all right. In fact, my recommendation is you don't need to jump on LinkedIn and make a bunch of posts. But if you jump into conversations that you're interested in and start getting involved, your comments are going to land on people's LinkedIn profiles, and they're going to see that, wow, this person is interested in this topic. I'm interested in this topic. Let's connect. Let's partner, what have you. So I think probably the easiest and most powerful way to utilize LinkedIn is just to be a regular commenter. Jump into conversations that you're interested in and participate. And what that will do is you're going to begin to sort of see, wow, why am I in this conversation? What did that person write that made me want to become a part of this? And and that's where we are there. So holy cow, guys. Stephanie says, what does it take to be part of our group? Our group, Stephanie, you're invited, but it's only for positive aging champions. It's not open to the public. This is one of the benefits of being a supporter of positive aging community. But what it also does is it defines our group a little bit better, because be wary of anybody that says that, hey, join this group and we'll boost your LinkedIn posts, because if you're not related to the people that are in the group, it can be a problem. But Stephanie, you're an honorary positive aging champion because you support our discussions with the recruiting and things like that. So you can definitely, I'll make sure that you can join if you'd like to join. Okay, guys, I went over my time. I babbled on. I hope for the ones that are still on this discussion that you benefited from this. This has been a real learning experience for me, because I think when we talk about topics on LinkedIn, that that I really need to hone it down. And I could even see going back and dissecting the profile a little bit more, because I barely scratched the surface there. But feel free, thank you, Linda. Feel free, folks, to email me if you've got any ideas. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this recording. I'm going to email it to you all and who are on this, and the other positive aging champions. Hopefully we can get a few more people joining our group. And thanks so much, folks, and have a great day.